Make the case for RASHAN Gary, Pro Bowler.
I mean, 6.5 sacks, man. That's pretty good. It's more than he usually gets.
Is this the pretty good bowl? Is this low,
first of all, let's remember
expectations?
the Packers realistically are a top 5 fan franchise, right? Like,
who cares?
They seem to be. Well, like they said, there's fan votes in this as well. Like, if you've got a big fan base, you can get more votes.
But fans don't like RASHAN Gary.
I mean, I like RASHAN Gary, and I'm a fan.
It's gross.
I don't think fans dislike him. Plus, fans just want to see their team's helmet in the Pro Bowl.
The Packers have legitimate Pro Bowl players. That's the problem. I mean, Josh Jacobs, Xavier McKinney, and I would say Elton Jenkins, who didn't make the Pro Bowl, those are legitimate Pro Bowl players. Those are legitimate people who have earned it. Like right now,
I don't disagree with that.
RASHAN Gary is like Terry Steinbach, which goes back to baseball in the Oakland A's. He was a catcher, and he was voted in by fans because fans liked him. He had no business being an All-Star, and
wasn't there
poster
something
child.
like that last year with some guy, or 2 years ago in the All-Star baseball break, where he just was the fan vote and had no business being there?
If you want to make
like an older guy, I feel like. But again, I think it's a lot about fans wanting to see their team being represented.
It's 1/3 of the vote. So the rest of it should have gone nowhere close to RASHAN Gary.
True,
like, even
I
if
agree
the
with that. But a
part
third of like that's a solid chunk.
But like, here's the thing, Matt. Packer fans, you're better than this. Like, don't vote in a bum. Like, he is a giant disappointment.
He has not lived up to his draft
or
spot.
his contract. He's twice underperformed, and this is not an injury thing. This is, I don't know what it is. There's been great breakdowns of basically he's not quite as explosive as he used to be, and he has no counter move. He's not strong enough to overpower, and he's not quick enough to get around. And he's in this no man's land. And this was the whole concern with RASHAN Gary when he came out, was that he's super athletic and a freak of nature, but didn't always put in the full amount of work or effort, or couldn't bring that work and effort onto the field as far as having technique to get sacks.
Because it looks like he works a lot off the field, but he
lifts weights. He's not clearly he's not putting the technique, or he can't bring the technique to the field.
Yeah. A lot of the video, so I follow RASHAN Gary, obviously.
Yes.
All his videos are against like cones and guys holding bags, and he looks fast. He looks like he's working on footwork, and you think that it would translate, but it's real different when you're going up against another dude who's trying to keep you instead of like a big pad, a blocking pad.
Right, because they can, keep you at arm's length. They can let you come into them and then keep them in.
Their grip.
Right. I mean, Jay Glazer from Fox is kind of famous for he's done some MMA training with defensive players, because MMA is honestly probably more helpful for some of those defensive linemen to be able to get off blocks and get in. He does not, and I'm just guessing here because I'm not an expert on this, but RASHAN Gary clearly has the physical, or had the physical ability to be much more explosive with sacks, and he's not doing it. Mm-hmm. And he clearly is a physical specimen. So I would imagine that this is a technique issue for him. And and where he's putting in the work, maybe it's the wrong work, or it's or work that he can't apply.
Well, it just seems like he's not, and I'm sure he's plenty tough, but to play D-end, you got to be crazy. You got to be a nut. And I'm just not totally sure that RASHAN Gary has that dog in him, so to speak.
So if you looked at it for the roster, and he is in as a defensive end, you still would have Leonard Williams, 9 sacks, who would be in front of him. Dexter Lawrence in front of him. Nick Bosa, who's in. Leonard Floyd, who is not in, also has more sacks than him. And I'm looking just at defensive linemen. You could go with Kobe Turner, Brandon Fisk. You could go with, obviously, Aiden Hutchinson.
But we know that sacks aren't the end-all, be-all for defensive ends in getting into the Pro Bowl. There's other factors. What if you get one sack a game, but you get absolutely torched by the run constantly?
He's not. Nobody thinks he's good at that.
No, I'm just asking. There's got to be other factors other than sacks and tackles for loss that go into this.
And realistically, if you put him at linebacker, he is 20th. The only thing he's even benefiting from is he's listed as defensive end. He's still probably 7th in defensive lineman sacks, 7th or 8th. He's benefiting a little bit because he's listed as a defensive lineman and not a linebacker anymore. But he's not a set-the-edge guy. He is a guy who's paid to get sacks, and he doesn't get sacks.
Yeah. Well, this year he's been holding the edge better than he has in years past, I thought.
Which might,
I don't know.
I'll be honest.
I don't know if that's merits getting you into the Pro Bowl.
But I don't even know if that. No offense. I don't even know if that's true because neither one of us. I'm not saying it's not true.
I'm just saying based off feel too. Like that's
what
there's
I'm
no
saying.
stat behind that. That's just how I'm feeling when I'm watching the game.
And I don't have a way to. I don't have a strong opinion to disagree with you on it. But it literally is just worth pointing out that that's just your observation. And
and I do find myself trying to watch 52 when the Packers are on defense, right? So like I think I'm a little more drawn to watching him play than some of the other position groups on the field.
Absolutely. But you can get into the show, 844-770-3776 on the Carb List Talking text line. Make the case for RASHAN Gary making the Pro Bowl because he is a Pro Bowler.
Jim, you said it yourself. Less is more, and that's what Gary's doing.
Is that the slogan for the Pro Bowl?
RASHAN Gary mantra right now. Less is more.
Is that the slogan for the
less better?
Yeah. There you go. RASHAN Gary is in the do less is more Hall of Fame.